Twilight Quadrangle. Taihang Mountain is stacked on top of each other. Wanru splashes ink landscape paintings. The peaks pass through ancient pine forests. With a hint of gloom, there is a cottage in the courtyard. Stand still. It's like being cut off from the world. An old man in his 60s lives here. People call him Lao Xia. He had silver hair. He has a gray beard. But he was in good spirits. Athletic. No one knows his real name. It is only known that he rarely goes down the mountain. Occasionally, I go to a village on the outskirts of the mountains. Buy some food and necessities. He hurried back. He didn't take the initiative to touch the saints. But it's also by no means enthusiastic. Always a faint response. But from his violent face, in the deep eyes, but I can feel an indescribable warmth, a mesmerizing temperament. The old people of the village will be careful to tell the rumors about him. I heard that he used to be a soldier. I have fought and seen through the red dust. Another would add that the family was gone. Many of them came to the mountains alone. It's hard to tell if these stories are true or false. The only thing that is certain is, he was alone, in this apricot yam hut, has lived for many years. On this day, the sun is setting. Lao Xia sat on the stone pier outside the house. Carefully clean up the valley and wild herbs that beckon. Suddenly, he stopped. Hurried footsteps were heard. From far to near. Few people will be at nightfall. Venture up steep mountain trails. Something must have happened. He frowned. I thought maybe I needed to help. Footsteps were heard. Followed by a weak cry came from the depths of the woods. Anyone? I'm lost. Listening to the voice, it was a young woman. Lao Xia hesitated. Put down the dish in your hand. Pick up a bamboo tube. It was filled with water. Follow the direction from which the voice came. If someone gets lost, he needs support. Furnace or Aunt Mo needs to spend the night in the mountains. He can offer some simple help. He didn't know. It was a night that would change his life forever. Two destinies that were originally unrelated will be intertwined. He silently walked into the woods. His name is Xiaowan. 25 years old, she is a young female police officer who has just graduated from the police academy. After a period of grassroots exercise, he has become a trusting policeman with courage and integrity. He is good-looking, tall and tall, always with a sweet smile on his face. He works hard. Be sincere. Deeply loved by colleagues and the masses. However, underneath his cheerful and optimistic exterior. But there is a hint of confusion hidden. She was dating a colleague. This relationship is with a common ideal and respect for each other's professionalism. But gradually, she found her boyfriend was too impatient in dealing with the case. The means are also too aggressive. This made Wan Qing feel uneasy and disappointed, even when performing tasks. He could also feel his impatience and impulsiveness. Stress on yourself. Someday, Xiaowan received a missing security guard. A local resident after hiking in Taixing Mountain. Disappeared for several days. In accordance with the management, search and rescue teams should be sent first. But due to the urgency of the situation, the police were also asked to assist. Wan Qing has good physical fitness. Good at searching. She took the initiative to lightly enter the sexually complex mountains, determined to find the missing. Her boyfriend also joined the search. But somehow, due to scheduling issues, they split up. 10,000 miles of crossing. There is a sense of responsibility. He plunged headlong into the mountains. As a result, I got lost. When twilight covers the earth, the painful beam of his hand sparked a panic strangulation between the trees. But what he saw, there are only cats, woods, and jagged rocks. He accidentally slipped on, rolled down a small hill. He struggled and got up. The knee is scraped to the ankle. Only then did I realize that I had completely lost my way. He anxiously took out his phone. But the battery is low. The signal is also interrupted. What to do? I heard that there are people living in this mountain. Maybe it can help. Xiaowan took a deep breath. Checked the hole in the pants. There was some bleeding in the knee, but it doesn't seem serious. Despite the fear in my heart, but he knew he had to find someone to turn to. He must be vigilant, while immediately starting a search after finding the missing person. Just as he struggled to stay calm, he suddenly heard faint footsteps nearby. He suddenly tensed, but soon, a soft light appeared in front of him. He saw a tall man. He was dressed modestly. Athletic figure, silver hair and appeal immediately caught his attention. He walked silently into the evening. The wound on his knee was carefully examined. Bitter grass-warm man. Then he dropped a piece of cloth from his waist. Gently tear off a piece. The explosion was on his wound. At the time of the explosion, he did not have any extended communication with Xiaowan. He just said in a deep and calm voice. It was dark and the mountain road was difficult. Walking around is only more dangerous. Come and rest with me for the night. Wan Qing felt a little cold, but it's more about peace of mind. His tone was rough compared to that of the city people, but he felt genuinely caring. And to mess around in this case, dangerous beasts may be encountered, or something else happens. Wan Qing took a deep breath. Respond by saying thank you. I'm still looking for a missing person. Can you help me find it? I'm scared alone. He nodded silently. Then he walked straight ahead, as if motioning for him to follow. He followed that efficiency without any road signs. He followed. He deftly weaves between the cover of the pods and the trees. This surprised him greatly. In the depths of the practically uninhabited forest, a suggested half-square appeared. When the evening saw him, an inexplicable feeling rose in my heart. It's like being cut off from the world. Walk into the halfway, despite the small space, but surprisingly positive. A couple of old hats, a small stove, some cutlery and tools. Righteous worship aside, a dim oil lamp glows softly, illuminate the entire room. Xiaowan finally felt her tense nerves relax. He even felt hungry and exhausted. When Lao Xia silently began to prepare dinner, a scent fills the air. In the fruit, Xiaowan saw it. Lao Xia prepared the valley and wild vegetables before. It's lonely and lonely steaming. Eat some of this. I took care of the wound briefly. You deal with it. Tomorrow morning with another herbal compress, he said, his eyes a little mountainous. Doesn't seem used to talking to people for long periods of time. However, Wan Qing was touched by his simple kindness. Even if he is in Peking opera, praised for being brave and respectful of others, he never got this either. A concern that can soothe his tired body and mind. Every day he was on the go writing reports, arguing with colleagues. That's his day-to-day. Thank you very much. My name is Li Xiaowan. I really didn't expect that there was a person living in this mountain. What should I call it? Xiaowan asked cautiously. After a moment of silence, he briefly introduced himself. Said that people called him old and pretty. Xiaowan didn't ask again whether this is his real name or not, or just a temporary appellation. He's just grateful to have met this one. Eat that night. Xiaowan drank what Lao Xia handed him. Hot valley sugar. It felt very comfortable. He smeared fresh herbs on his wounds. It works very well. He could hear the wind whistling half of the way, and the cries of mountain animals. It scared him a little, but strangely, he was not afraid, because Lao Xia is here. Though, she is in an environment where she is alone with a strange man. But she had a strange sense of security, and not anxiety. He didn't say much to give him a good rest. Just dimmed the lights slightly, pointing in the direction of the bed. He was very careful to look for Mars and protect them. The face is attacked by the wind, showing meticulous care. In the end, Xiaowan fell asleep deeply. Lao quietly sat by the fire. Look out the window. It seems that the car is also contemplating something. When he dynasty, at the foot of the mountain and in the distance when the city lights flicker, his past years will be like a picture scroll. The companion flashed before his eyes. He never expected to meet someone he didn't know at all, spend a night in the same space. But somehow, this feeling, he felt a heartbeat in place again. In his long life of seclusion, forgotten emotions, is slowly knocking on the door of his heart. The next morning, the sun coming down from the pheasant. The warmth shines on the house. As soon as I open my eyes, just doubt everything that happened yesterday, whether it's just a dream. And yet, bouts of pain in the knee and an unfamiliar environment tell him that it's all true. Lao Xia was already busy outside. I heard the sound of waking up in the evening. He walked in, quietly brought him warm water and a simple breakfast. "Did you sleep well? Does it hurt to change your knees?" he said with a simple greeting. It seems to be a word, but Xiaowan thinks his table is very cute. Lao Xia checked Shizhuan's wound again. Ground some more. The herbs he had just picked were applied to the wound. It felt a little tingling at first, but soon he felt the wound begin to heal. Then Xiaowan said eagerly, "I'm still looking for the missing man. It's been days since I lost contact with that person. Do you know if there are any clues around here? I have to find him as soon as possible, although I have just started working. But just know what I do." Lao Xia was silent for a moment. Then he fell and bowed his head. "This axing mountain is very even. Very few people come back to me. I haven't seen anything special these days. Maybe they went the other way. Or in the deeper mountains." Wanqing was frustrated. She pulled out her phone. The signal is still a segment time series. Finally caught a short-lived signal. She quickly dialed the phone number of Peking Opera Wisdom City. Luckily, search and rescue teams are conducting a search in the vicinity. She learned. Her boyfriend and coworkers also broadened their search. Wan Qingjian wanted to describe Lao Xia's situation while explaining his location, but even he provided specific coordinates. The other party can't understand either. Eventually, Xiaowan said he would continue the search, then hang up. In this case, he must find the missing man before he can go back and regain his sight. Lao Xia looked at him silently. The determined eyes didn't say much, just silently picked up a chain knife from the corner and a wooden stick. "Hand it to Xiaowan. I'll take you to find it. I'm familiar with the terrain in the mountains," he said simply. But this sentence is for Xiaowan. But it's a promise that can't be more reliable. The two walked cautiously in the early morning. Dew-dried, forest path. When the weapon occasionally floats by. When the sunlight becomes dim. Lao Xia's figure appeared even taller. Xiaowan instinctively followed behind him. Not only was I curious about who this person was, but found missing. That's the priority. The search is not easy. Xiaojuan's physical strength is crossing the stream, climbing steep slopes and sparing eyes when is rapid. The wound I received last night was also a dull ache. Every time, Lao Xia will hang up and suggest a break, and guide him on the shortcuts and safe paths he is familiar with. They seem to have found clues several times, but those glue silver. It is difficult to determine whether it was left behind by the disappeared. Before you know it, it's afternoon. Wanqing felt that her questions were declining little by little. He sweated first. Then it was suddenly blown by a mountain wind. I felt cold to the bone. Lao Xia saw the situation. "Take off your old coat and hand it to him. It's time to go down. It's easy to get lost if you go any further. But we have not found anyone missing." Xiaowan was unwilling to go back like this. Responsibilities as a police officer, as well as to think. The missing person may be suffering somewhere in the mountains. It made it difficult for him to take a step. Lao Xia seemed to see through his thoughts. Added, "Let's go back to the halfway side and take a break. It is dangerous to be active in the mountains at night. I'll look the other way tomorrow. Maybe your colleagues will keep searching. Do you want to give them a call?" Xiaowan, from Lao Xia's words, felt thoughtful and cared for. In fact, he felt like he had reached his limits. He knew that if he forced himself on, he would have to push it on. "You are likely to be in danger yourself." Eventually, he nodded. "Okay. Thank you for helping me. I can be with you in peace." "I'm grateful." On the way back to the half-square, the sun is setting gradually. Darkness covers the earth. Suddenly, it was pouring rain. The summer rain covers both the entire terrace mountain. The two of them quickly ran in the rain, past petrified rocks and steep hillsides. The two finally returned to their companions. "I was soaking wet. Xiaowan panted and threw her sleeves. Lao Xia saw Xiaowan spread a strip of charcoal in front of the fire. A few more have been added. The errand lit the fire. Xiaowan instinctively said that it was so cold. Lao Xia found him a set spare clothes that he kept in the barrel outside. The clothes are a little old though, but it's dry. That night, Wenqing changed her clothes in front of the fire, wrapped in a blanket, feeling exhausted, even a little trance. Rain and electricity pounded on the roof. There was a crackling sound. Xiaowan felt helpless. She didn't know if she was going to cry. Not only did she not find the missing person, still trapped in this mountain and unable to descend the mountain. That's when it happened. Lao Xia quietly approached. Hand her a cup of hot tea. Warm up. Don't blame yourself too much. You've done your best, he said simply. But this sentence deeply touched Xiaozhuan's heartstrings. Lao Xia didn't say any more comforting words, just silently watching the burning flames. Let Xiaowan calm down. Quiet waiting. It seems that even just stay there quietly. He could also feel the other party's question. Xiaowan began in this humble feel a strange sense of relaxation and an indescribable warmth. Over time, the rain stopped, but the darkness was still heavy. Xiaowan stood up from her seat, opened the door and walked out. The moonlight dimly pierced through the dark forest. All the trees and land. It's all wet because of the previous jade. He closed his eyes softly. Take a deep breath. It was as if some new emotion was quietly sprouting. His atria began to itch a little. Soon, Lao Xia also walked out. Stand by Wenqing's side. Feel the smell of the wind. They couldn't explain what it was, but there seems to be a strange current flow between the two. Wenqing felt that she had become a little emotional. I feel a little embarrassed. But he couldn't deny the attraction deep inside. It's like the sky. It's as cold and clear as the excitement. It's something he's never experienced before. That's when it happened. His phone vibrated suddenly. The battery is running out. But barely received a text message. When she opens the text message, it was found out that it was sent by her boyfriend. Xiaowan, I can't reach you. I'm worried. I've heard you're looking for the missing. Where are you now? Everything is okay. Her boyfriend's text messages looked full of concern. But Wenqing felt an inexplicable uneasiness. I don't know why. She felt guilty. Because I was in another man's residence. Even if the other party is much older than her. Meanwhile, when she thinks of her boyfriend. But I felt a wave of disappointment. In fact, she and her boyfriend have been arguing a lot lately. From the problems associated with police accusations to subtle emotional friction, the rift has been widening. Lao Xia saw Wenqing looking at his hand with an uneasy expression. Look at your phone. No questions asked. Just say it's late at night. It's cold outside. Let's go inside. With that, he turned and walked into the house. This sentence strangely stirred Xiaozhuan's heartstrings. He had never heard of it from anyone else at that time. A thoughtful and trusting gaze. Xiaowan nodded slightly. I'll go in right away. Then he stayed outside a little longer, admiring the moonlight. He said to himself in his heart who this man really was. Why is my heart so wobbly? Luckily, the next morning, the search and rescue team reported. They found the missing on another route. It was a man who had come to the neighborhood with sheep. He was killed by local villagers and search and rescue teams. Safely pulled out. Xiaowan finally breathed a sigh of relief. Breath. His figure as a police officer is complete. Now all he has to do is go down the mountain to meet his colleagues. Let Wan Er leave before this. Wenqing wanted to thank Lao Xia well. Deep inside him, there was a faint friendliness that might never see him again. He was haunted by emotions that he still couldn't understand. But he is also well aware. He must return to the city as a police officer. Thank you so much for everything you have done for me. It's all too much for me to stay here in peace. Can you and I come back to visit you in the future? Xiaowan asked. Lao Xia was silent for a moment. Then gently answer, if you want to come, come. His words were brief. But the implications. But it made Wenqing's heart beat faster. In the end, Wan Qing seemed to have made up her mind. In my heart, I said to myself that I would definitely come back. When she reached the foot of the mountain, the chicken has been waiting for the chicken. Ran over with my boyfriend. Her boyfriend looks both chicken and angry. Why can't I get in touch? What the hell is going on? You're running around alone. What if something happens? Wan Qing is sorry for her boyfriend's worries. But at the same time, he also had the attitude that seemed to reproach him. Feeling disgusted. But she must report now. She has returned safely. So she briefly explained why. Her boyfriend finally warned her. Be careful next time. Wan Qing didn't say anything on the surface, but I sighed deeply in my heart. She also decided she wouldn't do it to her boyfriend. Bring any. About the emotional exchange between her and Lao Xia. The next few days, Xiaowan is busy with cases and work. However, she was looking for Lao Xia all the time. A rainy night spent in a humble board house. Lao Xia stroked gently and forcefully, and the word of concern he uttered in a deep voice always haunted his mind. Wan Qing often thinks about other things. Is for a small. Over time, she and the relationship between boyfriends is getting worse and worse. They are on the values of being a police officer. There is a big difference, and there are often quarrels over trivial things. Feeling exhausted, in Xiaozhuan's heart, his curiosity about Lao Xia became stronger and stronger, and the unstable and impulsive side of her boyfriend. It is also becoming more and more obvious. When she finally had the opportunity to take a break from the Duan family, Wan Qing packed his bags again. Didn't say a word. Embarked on the journey to Taixing Mountain. Her boyfriend asked her to hang out together this weekend. But Xiaowan has already made an appointment and refused. His heart has been inclined to the old bridge of Taihang Mountain. Once you reach the foot of the mountain, Xiaowan, after several hours of difficult trekking, finally came to the familiar half. Lao Xia still looked calm, but on his face. But he showed a cool, welcome expression. Xiaowan noticed that the corners of his mouth were slightly raised. You're still here. I just wanted to see if you were okay, he said in fits and starts. Lao Xia just nodded. There was no answer. Then the door was opened, as if to signal him to enter. Half a square is simple and neat, but from inside wafted a burst of fragrance. Something seems to be living there. Xiaowan loves to walk into half of the party. I felt the cold heart in my heart begin to melt. That afternoon, Xiaowan asked Lao Xia a lot of questions. How is life in the city? Why did he live in the mountains? He also asked if you had any family. At first he tried to avoid answering, but in the end, little by little, he began to tell about his past. He recounted how he joined the army, how much his heart hurt because of this, how he lost his family, lost hope in life, and how he is getting harder. Get along with the people of this world. In the end, I chose to come to Taihang Mountain. Zhu Xiaowan listened to Lao Xia's story, holding back tears. Everyone has their own body. I'm a police officer, but always trust people and others. But when some cases come across, again, I'm going to be disappointed in humanity. Lao Xia listened to Xiaozhuan's words. There was a moment of silence, and then slowly disappointing. Ultimately, it's because you have expectations of others. I tried to let go of my expectations, but I can't. That's why I'm stuck here. Xiaowan stared into Lao Xia's eyes. In his eyes, full of pain and loneliness. But there was also a faint glimmer of hope. Xiaowan felt a pang of heartache. I don't know what to say. Suddenly, he remembered himself in a relationship with his boyfriend. The kind of alienation and hatred that I felt. He struggled to squeeze out a smile. I want to change the subject. By the way, I smelled a scent from noon. Is it your own dish? Lao Xia smiled. He nodded slightly. Then, he said cautiously. He was happy to have dinner with Xiaowan. It was the first time in a long time that he had done so. Xiaowan and Lao Xia sat at the table, drinking soup made with valleys and herbs. Had an unexpectedly time. Warm and cozy time. Last time I was in the city with my boyfriend. Think. When is it time to eat together so attentively? In retrospect, He couldn't remember. And then, Lao Xia took Xiaowan for a walk on a nearby path. The weather was sunny. Wildflowers in full bloom sparkle in the sun. Xiaowan put aside all thoughts for a while. Breathe in. Find fresh air. Suddenly, he smiled brightly at Lao Xia. Asked if I could come here once in a while. I loved it here. Unless I bother you. Lao Xia didn't speak. Just a faint smile. Then, he took his time. Nodded. That's enough. It's just his subtle expression of unity. It made Xiaowan feel her heart beat faster. This old man in his 60s. The strange attraction that emanates from the body. And his lean muscles hidden under a plain coat. Let him feel. Then any kind of romantic love in the world. Are all more special. Someday, Wan Qing received a call that was expected to be broken. It was her boyfriend calling. They didn't communicate much during this time. Rarely call. So Xiaowan felt a little uneasy when she received his call. Xiaowan, I'm in some trouble. We at Peking Opera are investigating a case. I need your help. Out of professional responsibility. Xiaowan agreed. But since then, she and her boyfriend are because of this case. Numerous conflicts have arisen. Her boyfriend, trying to resort to some underdone means. Playfulness organized her. Eventually, the two quarreled. Fortunately, there are colleagues who mediate. It's a pot play of grains. Around here. This incident made Xiaowan realize it more firmly. She couldn't take it anymore. Her boyfriend. Those methods and values that we uphold. A few days later, Wan Qing cleared her home again. Head to Taihang Mountain again. This time, he packed a large backpack. Plans to stay there for a while. Her boyfriend asked her to hang out together this weekend. But Xiaowan refused again with an appointment. Her heart was completely inclined to the old bridge in the mountains. Once you reach the foot of the mountain, Xiaowan has a difficult climb. Finally came to the half room of the old bridge. Lao Xia still looked calm and silent, but on his face. But he smiled to welcome Xiaowan's arrival. See that smile? Xiaowan realized. It turns out that I have fallen deeply in love with this person. Can I stay a little longer this time? My heart is very complicated. If only it could be here. I think I'll be able to clear my mind. Lao Xia's attitude seemed to be a little cold. But Wan Qing was silently allowed by him to stay. And moved, in the next few days. Wan Qing was in that humble half. Take care of the housework in the morning and evening. Lao Xia told him to identify the herbs and trees in the mountains. Help him collect them. Wan Qing also confided in him frankly. He worked as a police officer. The various troubles and contradictions that are felt. When they walk and eat together. The two hearts are getting closer and closer. One evening, Xiaowan and Lao Xia sat side by side on the hillside. Admire the sky dyed red by the setting sun. They didn't speak. But the two were shoulders almost next to each other. In that delicate distance, Wan Qing felt his heartbeat. His hands trembled slightly. Lao Xia also clasped his lips repeatedly. There seems to be something to say. Eventually, the silence was broken by the evening route. Do you think I'm weird? Always running here. I will tell you the stories that I have always kept in my heart. I don't know what to do either. But I just want to be with you. That's when it happened. Lao Xia's eyes trembled. So, for countless years, wrapped his heart in apathy and loneliness. Slowly melted, the burning heart buried in the deepest part. Cautiously woke up. He held out his wrinkled hands, gently covered the back of Xiaowan's hand. This action, than any scene in a romantic movie, are all more heartbreaking. He said in a deep but powerful voice. I don't know why that's happening. You're so young. So dazzling. Your light illuminates me. I knew I wasn't supposed to, but my heart couldn't stop beating. Hear this. Wan Qing's heart almost exploded. Meanwhile, bits and pieces of her boyfriend flashed through her mind. Feelings of guilt arise spontaneously. Crowded, yet this moment. The irrepressible feeling is so strong. So much so that he could not deny it. The two stared at each other affectionately. Those years soaked in longing and loneliness. As if overlapping at this moment. That night, they were in that humble half. Feel each other's existence more affectionately. Humble half a square mile. The lights are dim. In a faint light, the two cautiously approached. Lao Xia's fingers gently brushed over Xiaozhuan's cheek. He closed his eyes. Feel her breathing. In this mountain away from the hustle and bustle, there is no wind, only silence. Only the sound of each other's heartbeats and the temperature of their bodies. It's beating alive. On that night, they finally admit an undeniable fact. They need each other. The next morning, Wan Qing quietly opened his eyes. He still felt as if he was in a dream. His body was somewhat weak, but the heart is full of satisfaction and dwelling. Lao Xia sat quietly beside him. The morning sun shines through the windows. Warm hugs to them. I feel like I'm oversleeping, Wan Qing said shyly. His cheeks flushed. Lao Xia nodded. His violent and cool face still glowed with tenderness. They are like any pair of lovers. A simple meal was shared. Just for breakfast. The difference is, Lao Xia looked at Xiaozhuan's eyes even more full of love. And Xiaowan also smiled shyly, responding to his gaze. Raja Josephine Nevanar. Meanwhile, Wan Qing also felt it. The real problem has resurfaced. How she should handle her relationship with her boyfriend. As a police officer, what kind of choices should she make in the future? Whether he should or not. Or rather, will he be able to disclose this relationship to his sister? The age gap is so wide. His long social life was very different from his peers' people at this moment. The strong feelings between them. It seems to be strong enough. The next few days, they walked together in the mountains and chatted, enjoying a brief period of happiness. Xiaowan confided in Lao Xia, look for his past memories and hurts. Lao Xia listened quietly to everything he said. He felt yourself in the safest place in the world. When evening, when the red sunset stains the sky red, Xiaowan and Lao Xia sat side by side on the hillside. They didn't speak, but their shoulders are almost next to each other. In this subtle sense of distance, Xiaowan felt her heartbeat. The back of his hand trembled slightly. Lao Xia also seems to have something to say. His lips opened and closed. Eventually, Wan Qing broke the silence. Do you think I'm weird? Always running here. Confide in you. Those stories that I have always buried in my heart. I don't know what to do. But I just want to be with you. That's when it happened. Lao Xia's eyes trembled for a moment. For countless years. With apathy and loneliness. Underneath the layers that protected his heart, the old towel began to tremble. He held out his wrinkled hands, gently placed it on Xiaozhuan's hand. This action, more touching than any romance movie episode. He confessed in a deep but powerful voice. I don't know what I'm up to. Yes, I'll continue to finish the rest of the story. He confessed in a deep but powerful voice. I don't know what I'm up to. For you, you are so young. So dazzling. Your light stirred me. I know I shouldn't. But my heart just couldn't stop beating. Wan Qing's heart seemed to explode. Guilt welled up again. Her boyfriend's face flashed in her mind. Yet at this moment, this strong feeling is so real. She simply couldn't deny it. The eyes of the two of them intertwined. Those years of longing and loss blended together. On that night, they felt each other's existence more deeply. In that humble half-square hut, the light is dim, but in the dim light, they cautiously approached each other. Lao Xia's fingers gently caressed Xiaozhuan's face. He closed his eyes and felt his breath. In this jade brother, he felt that there was no wind in the valley. There is only silence. Only their heartbeats and body heat for each other. The presence of fire. On that night, they finally admitted an undeniable fact. They need each other. The next morning, it slowly descended. Xiaowan opened her eyes gently. She felt like she was still in a dream. A sense of languid and peaceful enveloped her. There is also a sense of satisfaction that makes people feel foreign. Lao Xia sat quietly beside him. The morning light shines through the window. Warmly hugged the two of them. I seem to have slept a little too much today. Shawan said softly. His cheeks flushed slightly. Lao Xia nodded. I don't know why. On his violent face radiates a kind of light. They are like any pair of lovers. Simple breakfast together. The only difference is, Lao Xia looked at Shaojuan's gaze, filled with more love, and Shaowan smiled shyly. And yet, at this very moment, Shaowan also began to feel it. The reality of the problem comes to sleep again. How should he handle his relationship with his boyfriend? As a police officer, what decisions should he make in the future? Whether he can say it. Should their romance be open to the world? The age gap between them is too great, and Lao Xia is used to a life of seclusion. And yet, at this very moment, the bond that was built between the two of them, it's strong enough. They spent several days together in Taxingshan. Immerse yourself in the lap of nature, sharing walks and whispers. Shaowan confided in Lao Xia, memories and hurts of his past. Lao Xia listened quietly to everything he said. His silence gave him profound comfort. He felt yourself in the safest place in the world. But Shaowan knew that he would have to go back one day. One morning, he said to Lao Xia that I had to go back. I can't afford to delay my work. I need to face my boyfriend. Get everything figure. I can't hide here all the time. Lao Xia just nodded, accepted his choice. Shaowan whispered to him a promise that I would come back. I want to be with you. The world is scary. It's also complicated. But I'm a police officer. I can protect the world and find a way to be with you. This is a confession. It's also an experiment. Lao Xia did not respond with words, but the sparkle in his eyes. But it reflects Zhao Wenqing's firm belief and burning cravings. After Shaowan returned to the city, he tried to talk to Nanu calmly, but the road in his heart is like an abyss. He was consumed by suspicion. Moreover, always haunted by his inexplicable disappearance, the gossip reached his ears. At the same time, there are also whispers in Peking opera. After talking about love, I met someone in the mountains. Anger and jealousy took over her heart. On the day Shaowan returned to Mount Taigata Mountain, her boyfriend stalked her, like a shadow lurking behind her. She hid behind the cat's writing, watched Shaowan walk into the half of the old bridge, see the scene. She felt that the motivation was completely destroyed. He angrily walked to the boardroom. There was a loud banging on the door. Shaowan, come out for me. What the hell is going on? Who is that man? Lao Xia was left with one left by the sudden knock on the door. Trinity Black 1. He opened the door. Shaowan stood between the two of them in a daze, trying to diffuse the tension. But her boyfriend's anger was like a night buddy, uncontrollable. Wenqing is with an old man who is a Enal. This is a shocking fact. And the vague suspicion in her heart. She is expecting. Because of the changes in his body as well as the delayed menstruation. All intensified his anger. You're going to tell me. Are you bad for this old guy's child? It's just crazy. Wenqing was shrunk by his duties. Lao Xia let out a sigh of relief. The sound is deep and powerful. He uses a calming force. In response to the young man's anger. Calm down. Yelling won't solve anything. However, his words only made him angrier. What does this have to do with you? Shaowan, you tell me. Who the hell is this man? Tears welled up in her eyes. Shaowan bit her lip tightly. He had to be honest. The true choice of your heart, and defend him steadfastly. I can't be with you anymore. Please, we'll end it all here. He's someone I respect. It's someone I love. Her words left her boyfriend speechless. She stood there stiff. It was as if the whole world was about to collapse around her. But the silence is only temporary. As anger gradually turns into despair, she questioned in a trembling voice. Are you pregnant? The child is his Shaowan, who has been thinking about whether to go for a checkup. And she has been agonizing about the consequences of this matter. Delayed menstruation. And that inexplicable feeling of nausea. All of this made her feel very stressed. If she is really pregnant, the situation is going to get even more complicated. But her heart had already made a decision. She looked up and met her boyfriend's gaze. Yes, I think I'm pregnant. and the child is his. This honest adult is like a hit on the plane. All kinds of great. On the body of his ex-boyfriend, he stepped back in a heap. All kinds of emotions. Anger, sadness, and pain distorted his countenance. He clenched his fists tightly. It was as if he was about to hit someone. But at this very moment, Lao Xia stood up. The aura of danger emanating from him, and the sparkle of determination in his eyes, stopped his ex-boyfriend. Any is a police officer. Anger doesn't solve anything. Xiaowan and I are together. All I felt was kindness and respect. I'm sorry, but I will take care of her and the child. Lao Xia's words were firm and powerful, and unwaveringly. All sorts of emotions use his boyfriend's face. He was embarrassed and wanted to back off. They are all full of poisonous gases. It's not over. Then he turned around. I ran down the hill quickly. Xiaowan looked at the figure he was leaving. But really, what about cats? I can't do it either. His words will be a lingering reminder. Keep reminding him of the pain he will encounter. Blame as well as obstruction. But his burden has already been written. He whispered. Lao Xia, her heart. Once again it was here and now. The man standing beside her was resurrected. Lao Xia gently put his hand on her shoulder. Asked, would you really consider having my baby? Wan Qing replied to himself. Haven't had time to get tested yet. But he was sure he was really pregnant. The two of them hugged each other. And realized, even if the future is uncertain, they were able to face him too. A few days later, Xiaojuan's test results were positive. He and Lao Xia discussed their future. A more similar discussion took place. Lao Xia had accepted their fate, but he still thinks, I can't promise a stable future. But Wan Qing was convinced of her decision. They decided to get married. However, the world doesn't intend for them to do so easily. People will criticize the difference in their age, or accuse him of falling in love with a diet. But anyway, he had already made up his mind. It is with the determination to embrace this life. The next chapter in their love story. It's about to be written. The city where you choose a school. It's out of their minds anymore. They are going to have a small and simple ceremony. Only a few friends from the village attended. At first, Xiaojuan's family also felt good. They strongly opposed the marriage, but with unwavering patience appraised. Xiaowan eventually convinced them, and was reluctantly blessed by them. Lao Xia will do it his own way, to arrange the wedding. He doesn't understand luxury in the city. Instead, he wants to celebrate with nature. He's going to use wildflowers picked from the hillside. Compile a simple picture ring. That night, when he took the painting ring from Lao Xia's hand, he said in a trembling voice, I never thought about it. My wedding could have been so beautiful. Thank you, I should thank you. Lao Xia replied that he was grateful. Thank you for giving me such a life. At the top of the sun-dappled mountain, they exchanged simple and sincere experiments. The breeze is built in the woods. Hell brings their promise to the heart of the world. Some villagers still cast hysterical glances, and cover your mouth with your hand, whispering behind your back. But soon, the calm strength of Lao Xia's body, Xiaowan had a cheerful smile on her face, began to melt the red in their hearts. Over time, they began to congratulate the couple again. Their blessings are also sincere. Their wedding was not lavish though, but there is a raw charm to it, and a kind of sensation that caused a stir in everyone present. Sincere emotion. News of Xiaojuan's pregnancy and marriage spread quickly, and it has sparked a lot of gossip and speculation, especially in the police force. Thought to be a respected police officer, actually married a corpse. And the corpse was still an old man. This kind of thinking is simply a vendetta of plague. Wan Qing stubbornly withstood those accusatory gazes, and determined to move on with his life. Although she took a leave of absence because she was pregnant, and it has received the kind care of many people. But she still tried her best to complete every case at hand. This is true even before the official furlough. She's conservative. Ex-boyfriend who is tormented by pain. I couldn't let go of it. She wandered near Taixing Mountain. It's like a partner with a partner lurking in the shadows. For their hard-won peaceful life. poses a constant threat one by one. Xiaowan tried to reason with him, but he refused to accept his choice. One day, the situation went completely out of control. In the case of her ex-boyfriend's single-minded, constant self-destruction, she broke into their mountain hut. Moreover, the conflict turned into a heated brawl, driven by anger. He was ready to resort to violence, clenched his fists tightly. The face is full. Angry, Xiaowan was very scared. He would hurt the child in her womb. But even in such a moment of crisis, Lao Xia still kept his composure. He turned to Xiaojuan's ex-boyfriend. His voice was calm and powerful, somehow suppressed the other party's anger. If you really care about Xiaowan, then restrain your lust. We didn't cheat anyone. This child is mine. His words, and then that determined look at the other party. It makes Xiaojuan's ex-boyfriend feel calm. He hesitated for a moment. The violent impulse on his face also gradually disappeared. There seems to be a subtle shift in the balance of power. Let's not go on like this. That's where we come to an agreement. It's over. I will live happily with this man. I'm sure you'll find your happiness one day too. The ex-boyfriend's lips trembled slightly, but he eventually reached out. He placed Xiaojuan's hand in the palm of his hand. Say I'm sorry. It's over, Xiaowan said and walked to Lao Xia's side, her ex-boyfriend. For the first time, I had to start looking at my heart. He really felt his pain. Is it more important than Xiaojuan's happiness and safety? His last act was to apologize. The lovers hugged each other tightly. Lao Xia's hand gently stroked Xiaojuan's hair. After the departure of his ex-lover, his family also gradually accepted Lao Xia. The two of them began their lives on the top of Taixing Mountain. After Xiaowan became pregnant, they decided to make a living for the house. Get ready for a new life to come. Lao Xia worked hard day and night. Take the mountains in search of the strongest wood. On a cold night, they thought it was by the fire. Xiaowan sat next to his lover, gently stroking his belly. Hugs are kicking me, he said softly. Lao Xia put his hand on his stomach. In Xiaojuan's eyes, Lao Xia seems to have completely changed. Changed a person. A kind of happiness and dwelling that he had never experienced at that time. When they come back from the hospital after a prenatal checkup, they spent many nights. Let's discuss Xiaojuan's future career. They finally decided he should take a break from his job in order to take care of his children. His ex-boyfriend called them to congratulate them, and when he learned, they planned to continue living in the Taihang Mountains. Very surprised. Are you sure you won't be in danger? Yes, he asked. Xiaowan replied confidently. I'm pretty sure. Lao Xia and Xiaowan are ready. Parenthood. The road is full of challenges, but it is also full of opportunities and joy. They happily ushered in the birth of their child. Now they have a small, cherished family. In the Taixing Mountains. Another ordinary day. Lao Xia stretched out his hand and held Xiaojuan's hand tightly. Lao Xia rested his head on Xiaojuan's head. The two of them began to laugh. It was as if God was telling them how much they love each other. This story tells us love can transcend ages, defeat the prejudices of the world, even in the most mundane of life. It can also shine brightly. If you find the video interesting, please subscribe, like, and comment. I will try to bring you more good works.